got flat tires or bent tie rods, probably that your ladder is embedded all the way. Although you do have somebody there that can see that, hopefully. Okay? This is the size of it. Okay? Your intercom here, this is your volume. Okay? This is the volume at the tip. I always leave the volume at the tip up. I have to push to talk, release to listen. I cannot be going over here and talking like that though, because they will not hear me. Same with the one at the tip. You have to talk into it, not out the other side of the ladder, because nobody will hear you. And you do got to get quite close. I mean, I could be up here because I'm under the roof, but I have to really get down and do it and talk. These are still better than those white FRC ones that you can't shut off, and they pick up all the noise from the wind, and they'll drive you up a wall, and then when they get wet, they don't work. So this is still better than that. Although my submarine was commissioned in '63, that was on there. So they're old, but they work. Okay? This little red thing keeps you from extending it out before you raise it up. Because you have no protective bubble anymore. You have no alarm when you come down. You can hit this cab, you can hit that cab. So make sure you know what you're doing before you're doing it, because it is real easy to get up here and grab the wrong goddamn lever, especially if you're looking at grandma hanging out the window. I gotta get to grandma. Oh, went right through the cab of the truck. So always watch what you're doing here. Get it at least out of the cradle and away from the back so that you don't damage it. And make sure that monitor is stowed so it doesn't come through the cab when you come back down. Okay? Alright, in here are two tags on that door. One will say right emergency override, one will say left emergency override. But, look at them, they're on the wrong side. Left is on the right is on the left. We do that on purpose because this is where you're going to pull an override and operate it at the same time. Well, somebody from down below gets you the fluid to do the work. Because if you lose power up there, both of those red valves that are in there is two red knobs. They're going to shut. Because the truck cannot remember if it's short jacked or not. So it says, I'm not going to let you rotate me. I'm going to go to my safest mode. I'm not going to say, hey, you can't rotate. So you need to put it away. You are going to come up here and you're going to pull the knob in the direction you need to go. So if you're over there, you need to go right. You're going to pull the one on the left. Make sense? Sure it does. No. Okay, but you're going to pull the one on the left. And then you're going to go this way with the right. You got to do both. Well, somebody gives you the fluid to do the work. Because your foot in the box isn't going to work anymore. Okay? The way they can fire two people if you screwed up. It's just to make sure you focus on what you're doing. So read the tag, pull the one that you want to pull, not what you're thinking in your head. Okay. This is just a glove box for your ladder belts. That's all it is. There's nothing under there but space. A six-pack of beer or whatever you want to put in there. All the pulleys are greaseless. You don't have to touch them for 20 years. Okay? You don't have to grease them. This here, these run covers are extremely rough and they will not come off. They're held on there with airplane glue. If you flew into the Appleton Airport, Gulfstream Jets made there. That's who owns our airport. So, whatever's holding them airplanes together is holding them run covers on. Two things came from the Gulfstream Jet: how to paint the fire truck and how to glue run covers on. There's a lot of, in the old days we had problems with paint coming off and everything. Well, if you can paint a jet and it lasts to 70 below and down to 100, you can paint a fire truck. Right? So that's what we got out of Gulfstream. You put a climbing rope on here though, it will destroy it in one lay on this thing. It'll fray it all up, make it jump. Climbing ropes aren't cheap. So if you're going to do any work with a rope on this truck and it's on the egress, wrap those rung covers with old hose. Take an old piece of hose, put Velcro on it, wrap it around there so that your climbing rope does not get destroyed. Okay? The cables are impregnated with grease. You pressure wash it. Try to put more cable lube on it. The cheapest cable lube you can buy is chainsaw bar lube oil. You can buy expensive cable lube at $14 a can for 20 ounces. Or you can go to the hardware store for $2.50 and get a gallon of chainsaw bar lube oil. Put it in a spray bottle and just spray them down. Same stuff. Okay? So that's what you have at this end, except for those black marks that are right by your butt right there. Right there. When those black marks no longer line up, get a hold of your mechanics and say you have to tighten the cables on this. Because first year, every time you go up with your ladder, all these sections, besides the base section, are hanging on cables. Every time you go up, it's going to pull on those extension cables because that's a lot of weight. Have you ever been in a bucket truck, went up in the air like that, and all of a sudden felt it jerk on itself? And as you come down, it tries to come back forward? That's the cables. They're not timed right. They want the extension cables and retraction cables at about the same tension so that it runs smoothly. If that gets off.
What would you say the tolerance you would do before you send something?
About a half an inch. You'll know right away because you'll go to pull that deal at the end of the ladder where you can hook it to the rescue mode or make it to the go with the egress. If that's extremely loose, these cables need to be tightened because that's what controls how much tension is on that thing. So if you can just flip that with your finger, it's time to tighten the cables. Right? Okay, let's go to the other end of the truck. And don't fall off the truck because, like I said, look at your load chart. That's where it says you can hang 2 Wisconsin people from. Okay? It will hold all the weight. It is designed, though, to fail before this. Doesn't mean it's going to fail. It's very strong. When I hang weight off there, I hang 1.5 times what it's rated for. That's what the safety factor on all ladders are, 1.5 times. Okay? On the bottom of that red egress, there's 2 little holes. Those holes hold the pickup bar that's in your compartment down there. It's just a triangular bar. They have 2 pins on each side. You pin it in there. That's so that when you lift something up, you're not pulling on one side of the ladder or the other. You're lifting from the center. Because you don't want to pull on one side. Okay? And you got 2 scabbards for chainsaws. If you want to start a chainsaw down here, stick it in there. And then you got a running chainsaw by the time you get up there. Alright? Here's your monitor. The big knobs on the monitor are your overrides. So if you got to crank it somewhere and you lose power, you can turn them. It will move. Right? Yeah, just like that. Yep. You cannot stream and fog it though. There is no stream and fog. But that's how you move it around where you need to be, so that if you were out there and you lost power and it wasn't in the stow position, somebody will have to crank it to its stow position or relatively close so you don't damage anything down here. Now, this next step, you have to be fully retracted and not flowing water to do. The reason you have to be fully retracted is there's a hook here and there's a hook here. And if you weren't retracted, that hook wouldn't be there. It would be out there. Plus you'd damage your kit. But you can do it off the side too. You don't have to be perfectly level, you just have to be retracted. If you're flowing water and you unhook it, the monitor's going to want to go forward because it's got water pressure behind it. It will go forward, it will not detach from the ladder anymore, but it will cause a lot of damage. It'll bend this whole thing up. Okay? So just make sure you're not flowing water. None of these can detach from ladders anymore. 2 years ago, one did. It was a different company. They had a pin that went through here. They didn't have it pinned. And they charged their waterway at 500 pounds of reactionary force, went forward, and the monitor flew out the end, went 89 feet through the air, and hit a captain in the back of the head, killed him. Jesus. So, none of these scents can detach from a ladder. The old days ours used to. We'd unlock it, and if it wasn't supported by something, it would go poof right on the floor. I watched a salesman do that one day. I was standing right next to him. I knew what was going to happen, but I watched it go poof. $30,000 waterway. Okay, so they don't do that anymore. Now to change it, you are fully retracted. You are in the rescue mode, and right now, if I extended it out, this monitor is going to stay back so that you can get in closer to a roof line. You're not going to drag 20 feet of waterway with you. So where my steps are here, when I'm pinned forward is where I'd stand to operate it. The steps way in the back of the ladder back there is where I'd stand to operate it if I was fully extended and it was pinned backwards like this. You can still use it. You can be going to a 10-story building and you might have smoke coming up to the window you're trying to get to. You can put that on a fog pattern to abate the smoke up from around you to see the window. Okay, you can still use it the way you would. Because remember, you can have 500 pounds on here and still flow water.
Is it the fly before the last?
It would be at the end of this section.
When it's pinned.
When it's pinned this way. It'll be way down there at
Oh,
the
yeah,
other end of this
yeah, the
one.
bottom of that.
Yeah. So it would actually be connected to the fly before this,
Yeah.
but it would be at the end of it.
Right.
Okay. Now, I'm going to change it. I pull this lever up. I lock it. Okay. I have to grab it with my fingers. It's on an eccentric, meaning that if I move this lever, it gets longer or shorter. It's on a lobe. I hook it over the front side, and then I lock it down. Now, and it's quite tight. Remember, that needs to be tight. Now it's going to go out with the egress. So now I'm a standpipe. So if I get to Walmart and I'm on the side of the building, there's no standpipes, and I get up there and I need water, I could take that monitor off, that nozzle off there, put a 3.5 to 2.5 and run a hose across the roof. Because I am my own standpipe at that point. Or I can do a high angle water drop where I couldn't if it was pinned backward. So this is the water tower mode. The other one's a rescue. 90% of the time you're going to run the rescue. First priority is save people. Second is the foundation. So away we go. Right? Now I'll pin it backwards. You just have to grab it again, like that, unlock it, just like that. Grab the bail with your fingers, if you made it long enough, and then down in there, and then lock it back. Now it's going to stay with the previous section at the end. Okay? And that's probably how you're going to ride with it most of the time. It's a 3-second changeover. Doesn't take long. Okay? And the tiller operator gets good at it. He can adjust it right when you come to the scene. Because he would be the obvious guy to do it, because he's the closest one to it. And do it before you take it out of the cradle, you don't have to worry about it. But you won't be flowing water then, hopefully. If you are, it's going that way. So. Right? Hopefully. There's your big floodlights that are going to blind the guy if you left the AC breaker on. And he goes to turn on his air conditioner.
Is this adjustable now?
It is. It is. But right now it's adjusted where it should be. What controls it now is the tension of the cables. So if this becomes extremely loose, we need to adjust those cables.
Do you find that that's common?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's some.
A lot of times before it leaves the plant, it's here.
Oh, okay.
And I'm the guy's got to fix it.
Our
This guy from the
mechanics,
plant's going to see it. Right?
our mechanics will be able to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tomorrow when I go through this with the mechanics, that's one big thing I'm going to stress. Is how to adjust those cables, how to make this thing the way it should be. Okay. Plus the greasing and the grease zerks and the lubricants that they need, things like that. So, this is your speaker up here. It's always live. Yep, the system's on. You're talking to it. This is your twist, 20 amp twist outlet. Breaker's got to be on. Got to have the generator running. There's your AC floodlighting switch that you. So if he does get blinded, he can come out and turn the switch off.
Yeah, just.
Yeah, he'll probably fall off the truck first, or she will, or whoever.
As long as your headset
It can't be
cable's long
gender
enough.
sensitive. Everybody gets a chance to fall off the truck. Great. Right? Okay. Once every 4 months, stretch this thing out. The black parts of your waterway, wipe them down with automatic transmission fluid. The reason being is it takes the dirt off the waterway and it keeps the seals moist inside.
The black part you said?
Yep, the black part, right there. That's the black tube. When you're stretched out, there'd be a lot of them. If you're up here and you're walking down a ladder and your foot slips through the rung and you dent that waterway, because it's very thin. All it is aluminum, aircraft aluminum with Teflon on it. When you're flowing full water, you will see them things sag down because they're so light. They need to do that because we couldn't put the steel up here, it'd be too heavy, right? But if you walk through and you dent one of those, don't suck it back in. Because then you'd have to replace all of them. They are replaceable a section at a time, and they make awesome flakefuls. Just saying. Yeah. So, yeah, fill them with concrete. Okay. That's really it. That's all I got for you. It's a pretty simple truck. It really is. Slept like a baby last night. All right. Inside that little door right there, there's a light switch in there. Things that they can check there is their oil, their transmission fluid, and if they look to the left, you have a sight glass for your power steering fluid. Okay, so they don't have to tilt the cab for that. If they go to the other side of the truck and look underneath the step, just like you did here, there's a white tank with a line on it. That's the radiator overflow. So long as they keep fluid up to that line, it will draw from that tank. It will put